Good morning, everyone. How are we all doing on this Monday morning? This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you had a nice weekend. I had a very interesting one indeed. Good morning, Alston Keir, Scott Hayes, Alan Duncan, anybody else who are lurking in the chat. Hope you guys are all doing well. This is Good Morning with Reganelite. It is the 8th of September 2025 at 11 a.m. UK time. So for those who are new here, what we do is we only go for about an hour. Don't worry, we only go for an hour, guys. I give you guys today's daily quota, which I will show you in a moment. Then we'll have a look at the weather, see what the BBC weather is saying, what the weather's going to be coming up over the next today, the next couple of days, just so we get our bearings of what the temperatures, weather is going to be like. And then we're going to be looking at the news. So today, we're going to be looking at a bit of UK, a bit of world news, a bit of American news, mixture of those, and we'll see what the website, see what the web pages, some of the headlines that are coming up from some of them, and we'll see them, guys. So those who aren't familiar there as well. And good morning, Peter M, as well. We are also dual streaming live on twitch.tv/Reganelite1, as well as on YouTube as well. So if you're on Twitch, hello, don't be afraid to say hello on there as well. Right, let's get started. So today is the 8th of September. Here it is, guys. Today's one, the 8th of September. There it is. So you guys know, I always show it. So you guys know, I don't make them up. It's not just ones that come up on my head like I do on my Instagram page, which you could always check out on there. But by the way, if you want one like this for yourself, yes, the website's called www.pennylittlethoughts.com if you guys want one of your own. So this one is from Maureen. I know I'm gonna butcher the name. Maureen Williamson, and it says, "If we never take a risk, we'll never know the parts of ourselves that we would have emerged if we had. If we never take a risk, we'll never know the parts of ourselves that would have emerged if we had." Very interesting one indeed. Interesting one indeed. A nice simple message for tomorrow, but you'll have to find out tomorrow's one by being here tomorrow if you want to know tomorrow's daily quota. Alternatively, obviously, if you can't make the shows, you could always follow me on my social medias, and I post them on pretty much every morning at like 6 a.m. when I'm up. I post them across all my social medias just for reference there as well. Right, let's get started. Let's have a look at what the weather is saying here, guys. It's a bit windy is what I've been told. So here we go. This is today at 7 o'clock. I'm not going to do afternoon because it's obviously subject to change. But we can see some of the temperatures right now in, well, later on in the day in parts of Europe. You can see there 23, 25 in the usual places. 20, 21 Paris. Brussels there, London 19, a little bit less, Berlin 20, Edinburgh 15, Belfast 14, Manchester 16 there just for Europe in reference. But as we can see here, there's quite this big storm coming. Looks like, is that going to come? Yeah, it's going to come, looks like it's going to hit parts of Ireland. It's not really going to come really too much into the UK there. Excuse me. But there'll be a few scattered showers, which is kind of what we were expecting here. Let's just put that on, and let's just put just wind gauges as well, just so we can have a look at the wind gauges as well, just for help ourselves a little bit there. But you can see temperatures, not too bad, 17, 18, 20. It was very warm last night while trying to sleep last night for me in it's very warm for me. It was like 19 degrees, I think it was like at 11 o'clock in the evening here, which is, you know, for September, not comfortable indeed. But temperatures tomorrow evening there, not too bad, 14, 15, 17, 18. Again, doable. They're all doable pretty much everywhere here. Much lower temperatures in Cardiff, 14, 13, and in respectfully there. A few scattered showers here and there. So you may encounter some rain and showers for where you guys are as well. So keep your eye out for that there. We can see, again, temperatures, again, not too bad in most parts there. Winds as well. You can see the gauges of the winds there, 4 or 6 miles an hour as well. North of England, 16, 17, 18 in some places. Heading up a bit further north of England, 15, 17, Darlington. But moving from the north of England into the south of Scotland there, you see some scattered showers still there. Dumfries, 13, Stranraer, 14. Some winds at 9 miles there. And again, Glasgow and Edinburgh, 14, 15 respectfully. And you can see there, Oldham, 14, Dundee, 16. And again, Fort Williams under a whole shower there from the looks of it in the evening. Stonehaven, Aberdeen, 15 there. Inverness 16. So not too bad, there. But yeah, as expected, there'll be some winds around. So tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I've just upgraded it. This is tomorrow at 1 o'clock here. We can see here, not too much showers again. So it's not, might be a bit windy, might be a bit cloudy at best. But you can see temperatures there, not too bad, 17, 18 degrees in most parts of Scotland. South of Scotland 17 at 16 at Dumfries 16 there. Moving from the south of Scotland back into the north of England, 18, 19 degrees. Temperatures not too bad. Winds 8, 9, nothing too serious, I would say, in terms of wind there. Good morning, Roddy. Hope you are doing well. And good morning, Dave McGuinness. Great show as always. Guys, do check out, if you're not subscribed to the two Davies, please consider subscribing and supporting their work. And temperatures, again, not too bad again, 17, 18 there in some parts there. Wales there, obviously, going to be getting a few bits of scattered showers, but nothing too serious again. Temperatures in the afternoon tomorrow, 20, even in some parts hitting 20 degrees. London, 19 there, 17, 18 there in parts of England there. South of England, 18, 19 there. And right down on the south, on the southwest there, you can see 15 to 15 degrees there. And we just have a quick look at Wednesday before we look at some of the news here. So I'm going to pull out a little bit there. We can see, yeah, this quite a bit of a rain here that's coming in there. So you can see overnight into Wednesday morning and Wednesday afternoon, pretty much going to hit, and even Wednesday evening there. You can see the rain's going to come right in. So this is 7 o'clock in the evening is what it's forecasting there. 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday, you can see there lots of rain going to be forecasting coming in. So do take a brolly or a raincoat, one of the two, if you're not already going to be taking them out. Highly advised, and it should be at this time of the seasons as well. And thank you, Alison Keir, for getting the Super Chat goal started. If we can get 5 Super Chats, £2 or more for today's goal, be greatly appreciated, guys. Thank you so much, Alison Keir, for your support. Much appreciated. But yeah, definitely going to feel some showers on Wednesday for certain. Temperatures there, again, not too bad, 17, 18, 19 degrees there. Not really going to be too much bothersome, but you can still see, there the winds are much higher. You can see there the winds there. You can definitely see the winds if you look at the little arrows there, 14, 15 in parts, where the wind's definitely going to be picking up over the next few days. That will be Storm Amy causing a stir again there. So again, most parts wind and rain is going to be miserable weather, which is normally what, as Dave McGuinness said on his live stream, is what you expect anyway around this time of the year. But yeah, big blobs of showers going to be coming in from storms coming over across from the oceans. So just do be prepared for that. Again, temperature's not too bad, but it's the winds. Should be a little bit concerned about. Nothing that you shouldn't already know about, but it's good just to be aware in hindsight, yeah, for that there. Just going to scroll back out into there. You can see into Europe, obviously their temperatures not too bad as well, and winds in different parts of Europe there. So for Wednesday, so that is some of the weather forecast. We'll have a look again the next we'll have a look again tomorrow, see what the weather is looking there, guys. Personally impersonator, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well, and anybody else who are lurking in the chats. Right, let's come out of that one. So we're going to start with the Guardian, and we will go from there, guys. So what is the Guardian saying today? Let's have a look at the front of their paper. So Labour has been accused of a stitch-up over the deputy leadership election contest. The former Minister Louise Haigh pitched in with calls for economic reset. Of reports suggest that candidates will only have 4 days to secure MPs nominations. I personally was not in favour of her getting axed, personally. But when it came out that she actually did break the rules, obviously she had to step down. It's really infuriating because she's pretty much the only working class person in that cabinet. So now you've got the only one that understands. So if Labour had any chance of actually doing well, it's pretty much dead and buried. Keir Starmer's the clock is officially ticking on him now that he's lost Angela Rayner. Officially, in my view. And it seems like that whoever's going to be the next deputy leader, it's just going to be somebody that's going to be looking to oust Keir Starmer and take that position. Is what it looks like. So, yeah, I personally am gutted, but at the same time, it's like, what were you doing? What were you thinking? Why didn't you cover yourself, is what my message to Lorena, because literally, like my dad always told me, he always said, cover your ass. And it's not a phrase. It literally means, making sure that you have yourself covered, so that you don't end up getting bit in the arse there down the road if you don't make sure you have things looked out for. And this is a prime example of it. She should have just made sure she had everything covered with regards to her taxes, but she didn't. But as far as the deputy leadership election contest goes, I'm really hoping it's not. I think if there's anyone that I honestly don't know who it's going to be. The one person that I don't want it to be more than anybody is Wes Streeting. He is the one person that I do not want getting that role more than anything. So we'll see, obviously, over time how it will go. What else is there? London tube strike shuts down services. The TfL website crashes. It crashed. The website crashed. I didn't. To be fair, I haven't used it today. I was using it yesterday. Not yesterday, day before. It's pretty fine yesterday. Commuters in the capital forced to find alternative routes to work on the first 4 days of strike action by RMT Union. They originally announced it for Friday, but it looks like they changed it. So yeah, buses in Elizabeth line taking strike action. Yeah, it's going to be quite some severe disruptions for people travelling today. So the saying of do check before you travel. TfL online journey planning its TfL Gov app appears to be struggling under the weight of searches, failing to load and returning error messages and no results early on Monday morning. Ouch! That's not good. The worst impact for congestion and transport is expected Tuesday, with more Londoners still typically working from home Mondays to Fridays. Ouch! It's not ideal for workers, but for the drivers, for the unions, they need. They're fighting for working pay and conditions. French PM Farkas Barrault expected to be ousted in conference vote. Ooh. Millions of Britons face high risk of heart failure due to dirty air. A study suggests there. Good morning, Akismad. Hope you're doing well, buddy. It's exclusive from the Stoke risk is 70% higher and heart rate failure risks increasing by 27% in areas with the worst level of pollution, research shows. Millions of Britons face a higher risk of stroke or heart failure because of dirty air where they live. People living in areas in the UK are the worst levels of air pollution are 27% more likely to develop heart failure compared with people in areas with the cleanest air, study has suggested. Stroke risk was 70% higher in worse areas, the research shows. The findings were presented at the European Society of Cardiology conference in Madrid, the world's largest heart conference. The study's lead author, Gina Halsky, of the William Harvey Research Institute at Queen's Mary University of London said, "We know cleaner air means healthier hearts. This means it lays bare the impact of air pollution on public health. Reducing your exposure to air pollution is a crucial part of preventing heart conditions. In the modern age and lowering your risk of heart failure and stroke, we need to improve air quality by introducing public health strategies which strongly prioritise cardiovascular protection." In the study, researchers tracked 299,323 people for a decade between 2010 and 2020. Using data from UK's Biobank study, the team looked at an average levels of PM 2.5 in areas where the participant lived, and they then investigated rates of heart failure and stroke in the same people over a decade. PM 2.5 is a polluted release from sources including vehicles, industry and household heating. The particles are 30 times smaller than the width of a human hair, making them small enough to get into the bloodstream after being inhaled. Those living in the worst 10% of areas for PM at 2.5 pollution had a 20% higher risk of developing heart failure compared with people with at least 10% of areas for PM at 2.5 pollution. The risk of having a stroke was 7% higher for people in areas with the dirtiest air the study has found. For 1 extra microgram in an area where people live, the risk of developing heart failure is increased by 7% and stroke risk grew by 3%. There's also a slight increase in the risk of someone experiencing a heart attack with more than PM 2.5, but the link was not statistically significant. Because it does not belong in the body when it is breathed in, the immune system overreacts to cause inflammation. When the blood vessels become inflamed, they become stiffer and more prone to fatten buildup. And this can lead to high blood pressure, which increases the risk of having a stroke. The heart also has to work harder to pump blood through the inflamed blood vessels, which can over time become weaker and develop heart failure. Interesting. Findings are significant because of the increase in stroke and heart failure seen with higher PM 2.5 levels were recorded after researchers adjusted for rates of factor including age, sex, ethnicity, residential settings, deprivation, education, smoking status, and alcohol consumption. Researchers found that one extra person in every 100 experienced a stroke in the top 10 of polluted areas compared with the area with the cleanest air. Another 2 people in every 100 development heart failures in the areas with the dirtiest air. Interesting. Interesting. The one thing I will say is that obviously the air in London in particular here is not as good as other parts of the UK. But we do have a London mayor that is trying to reduce air pollution. So that is a good thing in that part here. But this is also ties into where insulation in homes is really, really important, where we need to have more homes insulated than ever before, because we still have too many homes in too many homes. I'm going to say specifically UK, England. Sorry, in England specifically, too many homes that don't have enough insulation. We also have people are still. It's still too expensive for public transport, so you want people less using the cars, and you want people to be cycling more, or people using trains and buses more. Well, again, there's a cost to them, so there needs to be looked at if you want to obviously help reduce that as well. Turning a lot more, especially in city areas. You know, one of the things, especially in like central London, there are parts of central London where they really should get rid of the roads and just have pavements. There are parts of London where roads are not needed whatsoever, and they should just be turned into pavements. I think there was an argument, there was a case made, I can't remember who it was, but the cases have been made in Oxford Circus, Oxford High Street, to be turned, get rid of the road altogether and to turn it all into pavement, because it's a special high street where everybody goes down on. But obviously even the pathways are still not enough. The roads are already quite tight there. So there are a lot of things. There are lots of options that things can be done, both on the government Westminster level and on local government level there as well. Class Action, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. In the Highlands, I have to walk 3 miles to get to the bus stop, and 80-mile walk to the closest train station. So my heart bleeds for the poor Londoners. Well, I absolutely admire and respect you, the fact that you walk 3 miles to get to the bus, that you have to walk 3 miles to get bus stop, and 8-mile walk to the closest train station. I don't take for granted how fortunate I am to not need a driving license, to not be able to own a car and drive a car and deal with that and be able to have public transport. And I appreciate that, Class Action. Thank you for the super chat. I really do. Person impersonator says, I live near a stop zone for traffic diagnosed with COPD. Move away from junctions, and now COPD is mild instead of concerning. Traffic sucks. Thank you so much, Alison Keir, for the £2 super chat. Had a good time with good folks at weekend at March. Lovely. Oh yes, you had the March, didn't you, over the weekend? My apologies, guys. So hopefully it was a very good one, guys. Yeah, from bits, I haven't looked at too much of it, but I saw some bits of it, guys. So honestly, I hope it was a very good one there. Trip, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Stay out the Highlands in it. Well, I hope to visit the Highlands next year. But yeah, there's lots of things that can be done to help mitigate that. What else is there? George Osborne. I don't care what that guy has got to say. Let's have a look at UK politics. Unite Sharon and Graham warns Labour against diluting workers' rights bill. Labour don't give a shit. I'm just gonna say that now. I think Unite. I think they're wasting their breath with Labour at this point. George Osborne to miss out on big windfall from sales of investment bank. Again, I'm not. Why is this a story? I'm really not interested. I might have a look at it later, but I don't think it's worth our time, if I'm honest. Tanny Gray Thompson received abusive emails over opposition to assisting dying bill. Yeah, this is like, look, I'm not going to read the article, but I just want to say this about the assisting dying bill. Like, I initially, like, when it passed, guys, I was originally in favour of this bill, and then I was against the bill. And the reason I was against the bill after being initially in favour of it was because I felt that there were significant reductions when it comes to safeguards for the assisting dying bill, which I was not in favour of, which is why I was originally opposed against the bill. But the bill has already passed now, and I just hope that the safeguards that were taken away during the consultation period come back in before it becomes. There's still lots of barriers still to come for this assisted dying bill before it becomes law. There's still a lot of barriers still to go through. But I do hope that before it becomes law, they do add significant safeguards to it in order to give people for it. Because I am in favour of assisted dying. I just felt that this bill wasn't strong enough for it because they made significant changes during the committee hearing stages to it. So I want to make that very clear. I am in favour of assisted dying, but I want to make sure, personally, I want the strongest safeguards possible to protect people from it. And people are absolutely right to be concerned about assisted dying. Absolutely right to do so. As for people sending abusive emails, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you accomplishing here? Threatening people, just because you're not in favor of a bill. Like, it's not going to, like, it's just completely out of order. And I really do think people like this who send this kind of stuff, there needs to be action taken against people who do this kind of thing, because it's not acceptable. Like, I have my feelings about certain politicians, but I'm not going to be sending them an email. And even on Twitter, like, when I see certain tweets from politicians, it makes me want to say something, but I have to hold my tongue and say, look, I don't want to sink myself to their level. So yeah, it's just really just not necessary. New Business Secretary Peter Gall going to China for trade talks this week. What exactly did he do as Technology Secretary? Did he do anything as Technology Secretary? Excuse me. Don't even think he did anything. Protesters expected as 51 Israeli arm makers among exhibitors at London's trade fair. Why are they there? Campaign against arms trade says UK government has hit peak complicity in genocide, allowing firms to exhibit. 51 Israeli arm makers. London Trade Fair. 51 arm trade makers and the US defense giant behind the F-35 fighters used to bomb Gaza among the 1,600 exhibitors at the biannual DSEI trade show that begins in London Dockland on Tuesday. Their presence will be the focus for hundreds planned for demonstrations outside the 4-day fair, at which the Defence Secretary John Henley is expected to speak alongside senior British military officials. Like, I'm sorry, you cannot... Like, you just cannot, like, you think people are stupid. They really do think the general public are stupid. Like, they are paying attention to everything when it comes to Gaza here. Like, it's so ridiculous. It's campaigns against arms trade. Says Israel's three biggest arm companies, Ebit Systems, Rafael, and Israeli aerospace industry, were among those planned to attend, despite the UK barring an Israeli government delegation last month. Like, this kind of stuff here, like, if, again, this just adds on to the, no matter what the government actually says in Parliament, what they say in interviews about how terrible things are in Gaza, the reality is that they're still doing what they're doing. They're still supporting Israel. They're just trying to save face, saying, no, we care about what's happening in Gaza. We honestly do. But we just don't tell anyone about the weapons and arms we're shipping, or our contracts that we have with Israeli firms. Like, it's just an absolute joke. Absolute joke. This is an absolute joke. This is. Senior Labour figures tell Keir Starmer to stop making mistakes. Okay, well, you can start. Okay, he can start by sacking that Morgan McSweety. That'll be the first. That'd be the first thing you could do to stop making mistakes there, if they're deadly serious. Anything else worth looking at? Shrinkflation bites says boxes of quality streets and celebrations lose weight. What a surprise! So instead of reducing the amount of sweets now, they're just gonna put less into them. They used to make the tins smaller and smaller and smaller. Now they're gonna make the sweets smaller as well. Try and make sure you don't notice it. Call for a ban on sexual relations between barristers and junior staff. Yeah, but I don't have a problem with that. We have an alternative story. Green Party Zach Palensky chats to Nigel Farage constituents. Yeah, he was there last week. I saw a video. The news agents were down there last weekend, and they happened to bump into Zach Palensky in Clacton, of all places. Yeah. So you can say what you like about Zach Polanski and his politics and whatnot, but he's doing and this is the thing. This is the thing, like, the things that Phil Morehouse was saying on the Sunday roast, right? That Phil, Max, and Alex, and things that they were saying about, you know, what politicians need to do, what Keir Starmer and Labour need to do. And then here you see Zach Polanski doing one of those kind of things, like literally going into the heart of the enemy territory, if you want to call it, and talking to constituents. Like, there's no bodyguard with him. It's just him literally there in Clacton on his own talking to people because he wants to hear their views, even if they tell him to F off or they're not interested in his party or whatever. He's still there going to listen to him. See, this is the kind of politician we need. Again, you don't always have to agree with that, but he's doing the right things. And I really do appreciate the boldness of Zach Polanski. And by the way, he's going to be doing a podcast every Wednesday, which, by the way, I've put on the Discord community. So every time his new pod drops, you can find it. I don't know if Alistair, if you can find the link and post the link to his YouTube channel for it specifically. But I do recommend checking it out here. Like, don't take what... I want to make this clear. Don't take your thoughts about Zach Polanski from me or any other YouTuber. Go and listen to what he actually says. Go and actually listen to his podcast and base your opinions based on what he says, not what me or any YouTubers out there say of him. Yeah, that's my recommendation. Labour insiders form a new central left network in a bid to change the party's direction. What left network? The left got purged. The left got purged out of the Labour Party, so I'm not sure about that. Okay, sure. Left network. Okay. I mean, I'll give them a try, but yeah, I'm not holding my breath for them. I really am not holding my breath for them. Right, shall we go across the pond and see what else is happening, guys? Back has spent more time in Clacton than the MP for Washington and Mar-a-Lago, says Peter. Yep. There. Gets quite windy on those hills. Zach. Yep. Right, so what's happening in America, guys? This is from the Associated Press. Shooting attack at Jerusalem bus stop kills 5 people. In a rare ruling, Israeli Supreme Court says Israel deprives Palestinian prisoners of food. How is that acceptable? Based on what? In a rare exercise of wartime restraints, Israel's Supreme Court ruled on Sunday that the Israeli government had deprived Palestinians of even standards and ordered authorities to increase the amount and improve the quality of food service to deprive Palestinian inmates. Sorry, I'm reading it wrong. Although it's the job of the Supreme Court to advise the government of the legality of its policies, the Israeli judiciary has seldom taken issue with its action in the 23-month Israel-Hamas war. Heard all that. The Israeli army detained large number of Palestinians. Where's the... At Israelis' highest tier of accountability, the Supreme Court heard complaints from individuals and organizations against Israel's government actions, such as practice of restricting food and medical supplies in Gaza, or in this case, what 2 Israeli human rights groups describe as their complaint as the security establishment's systematic policy of depriving Palestinians of food. Yet we know that. The 3-judge panel ruled unanimously that the Israeli government had a legal duty to provide Palestinian prisoners with 3 meals a day to ensure basic levels of existence and ordered authorities to fulfill that obligation. In an unexpected 2-1 decision, the court furthermore accepted the petition filed last year by the Association of Civil Rights in Israel, or the ACRI. Israel has civil rights. And the Israeli right groups Gishka sided with their allegations that the government's deliberate restrictions of prisoners' food in Israeli detention facilities has caused Palestinians to suffer malnutrition and starvation during the Israel-Hamas war. Now, here's the real question. Is this going to make a difference when it comes to the conditioning and the well-being of Palestinians within the Israeli prisons? I don't think so. I'm very skeptical that this is going to change anything. We know that they are being tortured and all sorts within those Israeli prisons, Palestinians. We know that they're being treated incredibly inhumane there. Whether this actually will make a difference, I'm really skeptical. We are not speaking here in comfortable living or luxury, but on the basic conditions of survival as required by law, the ruling said. Let's not share the ways of our worst enemies. Palestinian authorities have recorded the deaths of at least 61 Palestinians in Israeli custody since the war started. In March, a 17-year-old Palestinian Israeli died of what doctors said was likely starvation. Ben-Gvir, the nasty, evil national security minister who oversees the prison system, boasted last year that he degraded conditions of security prisons to the bare minimum required by Israeli law. Yeah, but he's not going to face any. He's not going to face any backlash. Are you from Israel? He asked the judges, arguing that while Israeli hostages in Gaza have no one to help them, Israeli Supreme Court defend Hamas to our disgrace. He vowed the policy of providing prisoners with the most minimal conditions stipulated by our law would continue unchanged. Yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. That's all right. Aston, I can find it. Give me 1 second. Yeah. This is pretty distasteful to say the least here, guys. Give me 1 second. I have it. Yes. I have it on Discord anyway, saved. I can't remember what it's called. It's something with Zach Polanski. Is what it's called. Just give me 1 second. Benjamin, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Guys, just a reminder, if you can hit the like button, it'd be greatly appreciated. And share this across social media if you can. There it is. Bold Politics with Zach Polanski. That's what it's called. Copy. Yeah, Bold Politics with Zach Polanski, Alliston. If you type that in, it should come up on YouTube. I don't want to open it there. But yeah, if you type Bold Politics with Zach Polanski, you should find the YouTube channel there. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you for the £2 super chat as well. Much appreciated, buddy. I just remember airport security going mad. It took hours to get through security. Where were you traveling, Benjamin? Just out of curiosity. Ellie, good to see you there. I hope you are doing well. It depends where you're traveling, isn't it, as well? Trump US Open visit sparks boos and long security lines. What a surprise. Oregon will give the big three of the top 4 seeds in AP, top 25 COP basket. South Korea will bring home 300 workers detained in the massive Haidani plant raid in Georgia. A decades-long peace vigil outside the White House is dismantled after Trump's order. Photos captured Chicagoans protect against ICE and Trump's intervention plans. White House review and Smithsonian content could reach into classrooms nationwide there. Russia launches largest aerial attack on Ukraine since the start of the war, AP explains. Probably have a look at that maybe on the Kiev Independent. France's faces more political upheaval. Also, Prime Minister's fates hang in the balance. Apparently that's today as well, wasn't it? We saw there. Argentina President Mendy suffers crushing defeat in Brussels provisional election. Ooh. That's a good sign. I want to see him overthrown. He's a terrible... Well, not overthrown. That's not the right word. Thank you for the £2 super chat just to hit the super chat goal. Yes. Where are you, Pingu? There we go. Thank you for your support, Aston Kier and Class Action. Thank you guys for your support for Pingu and the Democrat Penguins Republic. Much appreciated, guys. Thank you. Let's have a look here. So, Javier Mendy suffered a sweeping setback on Sunday in a Buenos Aires provisional election, widely viewed as a political test for his Liberation Party and a barometer of how it will perform against congressional midterms next month. They captured just 34% of the vote in Argentina's biggest province, losing by a landslide to a left-leaning opposition, which secured 47% of the majority of ballots counted late on Sunday. He conceded his right-wing party's crushing 13-point loss to his populist rivals represent a clear defeat. We suffered a setback and we must accept it responsibly, Miriam told grim-faced supporters at the party's headquarters. His tone reflected even chastened. If we've made political mistakes, we're going to internalise them, we're going to process them, we're going to modify our actions, he said. Still, he vowed to stick with his sweeping economic overhaul, saying there will be no retreat in government policy. Struggling to stabilise the blurring economy, his close associates embroiled by a graft scandal ahead of congressional midterm elections in late October. The results are being closely scrutinised for the potential to rattle investors and royal jiggery global markets. Analysts expect a la Libya to lose by a few points, but his allies fear that a worse than expected outcome in Buenos Aires province, which make up nearly 40% of the country's population, will galvanize his rivals at a delicate time. Very interesting. Very interesting. I have to see how he does in the midterms. I'll probably have a short video, or maybe I'll cover it on News Global when it comes next month on that. That'll definitely be interesting to see the legs. Prince Harry visits the UK. Okay. A New Zealand father who evades authorities with his 3 children for years is shot dead by police. Blood moon is visible during the second total lunar eclipse of the year. You know what? I've never seen a blood moon. I've always wanted to see a blood moon. I think we saw that world's largest iceberg begin to break apart. I think we saw that on Friday. Pretty sure we did. Ukraine's Prime Minister releases video showing damage at government buildings in Kiev. That's some of the stories there, guys. Let's. Yeah. Oh, thanks for you found it, Aliston. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Only Europe. I grew up 0.5 minutes from an airport, so used to grabbing cheap flights whenever. Plus, the airport was handy for SIGs at 3 a.m. But they closed all that back entrances and all that after 9/11. Yeah, it used to be smooth switcheroo before 9/11. Then they changed it all, didn't they? Yeah, it's all changed. It's all changed since then. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Let's have a look at Al Jazeera before we have a look back in the UK. Just a reminder, guys, we only go till 12 o'clock. We won't go further than that. A Somaliland requisition for forced transfer of Palestinians, not worth it. 5 killed in East Jerusalem attack as Israel forces kill 21 across Gaza. What's the life piece saying? Israel likely to respond to Jerusalem shootings with retribution against attacked homes. Israeli court ruling on prisoners important, but convoluted, says Professor. Security officers and civilians shot the perpetrators of Jerusalem attack, police say. Israel closes all checkpoints between East Jerusalem and the West Bank. So there was attack in Jerusalem then. Israel will likely respond to deadly shooting in East Jerusalem with the acts of retribution targeting homes and gunmen. Going by its track record of retaliation. Israel not carry on capping out border for tit for tat, trying its true. What's the last update? This is just 3 minutes ago. Israel issues forced evacuation order for Gaza buildings. Intense. The Israeli military has released another map with a highlight buildings and giant test areas on Jamal Abdel Nasser Street in Gaza City. Tell Palestinians in the area that they could be killed if they do not immediately evacuate. They said they will attack the buildings soon due to the presence of Hamas terrorist infrastructure inside it or adjacent to it, again without offering any evidence. However, reporting from Gaza City says the target is a commercial 17-story tower located across the street from the Usaid complex in the heart of western Gaza City. That houses clinics, beauty salons, electrical, educational centers, a gym and offices. Israel's told residents in the buildings displaced people living in the tents around the area to go to the so-called humanitarian area in Al Maswani area of southern Khan Yunis, which has also been reportedly bombed since the start of the war. Just had another update. 6 more Palestinians die of starvation in Israeli besieged Gaza, including 2 children. Starvation is still happening, but it's not new news, unfortunately. And the thing is right, this is normalized right now. This is the worst thing. It's normalized. And yet still, despite the outrage and anger, still the Western leaders and President Trump not doing anything about it. It's just disgusting. How are the flotilla doing? A day on board this Glomar heading for Gaza. The volunteers, 1 boat trying to reach Gaza crew due to coast. What is there? Is this just them departing?
A flotilla carrying a group of activists and some humanitarian aid is sailing in the Mediterranean towards the Gaza Strip. It is the 3rd attempt by activists to reach Gaza by boat. 2 previous vessels were intercepted by Israel. Organizers say they are determined to keep trying to, quote, break the illegal siege imposed by Israel. Al Jazeera's Hassan Massoud is on the boat alongside those activists and sent us this update.
من بين التحديات والسيناريوهات.
One of the challenges and scenarios feared by flotilla volunteers is bureaucratic obstacles putting a stop to this mission. That is why they try to stay anchored in international waters and avoid calling on national ports. They are adamant to reach the Gaza Strip, to achieve the ultimate goal, in whole or in part, chiefly to send a message of support to the Palestinians in Gaza. Throughout the journey, all on board have been reading the news and following the latest developments as they unfold in Gaza. They are carrying relief aid, hoping to deliver it, together with those carried by other flotilla boats joining from Italy, Tunisia, and Greece. However, the main goal is to defeat the thought that nothing can be done, or that the siege cannot be broken. On the contrary, they are willing to say the opposite. Something can be done, and the siege can be broken through a humanitarian maritime corridor that can remain open for aid and medical supplies to be delivered, apart from the entry of foreign doctors and volunteers from all over the world.
Let's hope they do find a way through. I think it was like 20 boats was last reported, but I don't know when this last report was. But I really do hope that they break through. It's been a couple of days, obviously, since I think it's been a couple of days since they've set sail. But I really hope they do get through. I mean, we'll hear, when they start really getting close to Gaza. That's when we'll find out. We'll find out this week what happens. I don't think the weather's going to be too much of an issue there to them. Norway elections, why investment in Israel are shaping the vote. Interesting. Got elections coming up in Norway. India expands censorship powers, let lower officials demand takedown. Israel deprives Palestinian prisoners of food to its Supreme Court rules. Looked at that already. Live phone from terrorists in Tunisia on Gaza mission. This is 42 minutes ago. Greta Thunberg blames Western countries for enabling Israel's genocide in Gaza. 100%. Yep. End your complicity, everyone. End your complicity in Gaza. Be human. Nobody is free until Palestine is free, she said. Yep, this was 42 minutes ago. So they got a live feed that's there. 3 hours ago, hundreds of Tunisians greet the global Sumi flotilla. How many boats? This doesn't say how many boats. Prominent activists, including Greta Thunberg and others, reached the port of Tunisian capital on Sunday. Was greeted by hundreds of locals waving flags and cheering them on late into the night. Oh, wow, that's awesome. Boats taking part in this. Wow, look at that. That's very cool. Yeah, that's very cool. That was about a couple of hours ago now. So yeah, Tunisian, so the pickup for boats from Tunisia. They've got a much better chance of breaking through with multiple boats than they do with just one. So I really do hope it works out for them. I really do. Anything else here worth looking at? Just having a look. Not really. So let's have a look. Let's switch gears and have a look and see what Sky News is saying here. Yeah, it's very brave of them. I really do hope they find a way through. I really do. I do worry about their safety and well-being, but heard it's 30 boats. 30 boats. Wow, that's going to be very difficult for Israel to stop. I'm not sure what Israel are going to do. The thing is that the worst thing is that I can see them blowing up shooting some of those boats, and then there'll be international outcry, and then they'll do nothing about it. Like that's the worst thing about it. No worries, personnel. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Let's see. Sky News tracks down woman at the centre of the hit and run Madeleine McCann theory. Oh, I don't want to read that. Goodbye summer. Get ready for wet and autumn. New Home Secretary to host talks on people smuggling its small boat crossings hit 30,000. Blood balloon dazzles across the world. People turn into how many have turned into werewolves tonight? Last night, did we have a few werewolves running around? Questions. Layla failing to deliver change that people voted for, the TUC chief says. Yep, absolutely true. A race to find a new deputy after Rayner resigns. We'll talk. I think I'll dive a bit more into the cabinet and whatnot. Tonight I will. What else is there? Analysis. Analysis. All you got is analysis. Do you have anything else but apart from... These Sky News don't really have a lot. Yeah, they don't really give a lot of options, to be fair there. Nothing really worth opening up there, guys. So we'll leave them. We'll switch gears. What's Africa News saying here? 66,000 Kenyans to lose jobs if the AGOA is not renewed. What's the AGOA, respectfully? Kenya's economic lifeline will soon be cut. The African Growth of Opportunity Act, the AGOA, is set to expire on September the 30th, ending a key duty-free trade arrangement with the US. Oh, God, it's tied to the US. This deal has been a game changer, anchoring billions of shillings in investments, sustaining 66,000 apparel jobs and supporting nearly 660,000 Kenyans who rely on apparel sector in their livelihoods. Without AGOA, Kenya loses complicity edge against Bangladesh, Vietnam and Egypt. The Kenyan government has responded swiftly by sending Trade Minister Lee to Washington to fight for an extension, but time is scarce and active and sustainable diplomacy is critical. If the AGOA is in review, Kenya must pivot fast. A Kenya-US free trade agreement could offer the predictability investors crave and secure Kenya's foothold in global supply chains. In the meantime, a mitigation package is vital to buffer tariff shocks, protect factories and preserve jobs until a long-term solution is sealed. That's a lot of jobs at risk. That's a huge amount. That's seriously damaging to their economy. What else is there? Yemen Houthi rebels launched drone attacks hitting Israelis Ramadan International. M23 rebels capture town in eastern DRC as peace talks stall. Yemen Houthi rebels, read that already. Monaco, excitement as students, families gear up for the new school year. Pope Leo canonizes first two saints of each province there. Burundi, appointed president of Economic Community. Sudan's war devastates farming, pushes millions towards famine. Boko Haram militant kills 60 in an attack in Nigeria northeast. Another 60 people. Killed dozens of people in a nighttime assault on a village in northeastern Nigeria that is home to residents who have recently returned from a camp for internally displaced persons, authorities said. The attack on Duro Jamal in the Bama local government area took place late on Friday and killed at least 60 people. A resident of the village told the Associated Press. State governor who visited the attacked community on late Saturday evening confirmed to reports that over 60 had died in the attack. Sympathise with the people who have pled with them not to abandon their homes. We have much arrangements to improve security and provide food to other life-saving homes that have been lost, he said. Chairman Obama's local government said over a dozen houses were burnt and more than 100 people were forced to flee. It's terrible. Absolutely horrible. Nonsense. Egypt announces Israel's plan to displace Palestinians from Gaza. Mpox outbreak no longer a global health emergency. World Health Organization chief has said. That's good. Sudanese feminist drama Cotton Queen. That's a film festival. Protesters draw red line in Brussels over Gaza war as well. Those are some of the stories there from African News. Let's have a look at the New York Times. New York Times is a fascinating one. Won't be able to open any articles here because they're all behind paywalls, but it's also interesting to have a look and see what they're saying here. So, immigration raid exposes tensions from South to Washington to rural Georgia. A raid at a Georgia plant being built with investments from South Korea reveals strain as a rush to expand U.S. manufacturing clashes with immigrant enforcement. 36 hours in Costa Brava, Spain. Okay. Oh, why'd you have to play that? Russia's largest drone assault on war sets a government building ablaze. It's the first time a government building in Kiev has been damaged in the war. Officials said Russia has continued strikes despite U.S. mediation efforts. Russia steps up disinformation as Trump abandons resistance. The Kremlin began a campaign to sway parliamentary elections in Moldova in what could become a new model of election interference online. So yeah, looks like that's the government building that was struck. Ukraine, yeah, first time they hit the building. Russia launched 805 drones and decoys across the country, Ukraine's Air Force said. 805, that's a huge amount. Ukrainian authorities said at least 5 people around the country were killed. Yeah, terrible. Shooting in Jerusalem leaves at least 5 dead. The police described the shooting as a terrorist attack and said the perpetrator had been neutralized at the scene. My deepest condolences to the friends and family and loved ones who lost their lives for it. I really mean that. And yeah, neutralized at the scene, so they obviously killed the perpetrators. Heavy drones hit Israeli airport after warning system failure. Chicago Mayor to Trump, right question, wrong answer. So he hasn't sent in the National Guard yet into Chicago, as far as I'm aware. At least not yet. They could happen this week. Hollywood is at war with itself over Gaza. They know what side to take, but some of them don't want to take the side. France's financial roles are pushing its government onto the brink. Yeah, we'll find out more about that later on. Any other stories worth listening to? Help! I've become a helicopter parent to my dog. Okay. Blood Moon again. One Booker Prize. Kennedy rejecting data fuels distrust of his own agency. Critics say Robert F. Kennedy is jeopardizing public health by promoting superstitions about the institutes he oversees. He says he's pursuing transparency. No, he doesn't care about data. He doesn't care about facts or data. It doesn't matter what data and facts you put in front of him. He wants to kill people. He wants people to die. He wants immunization. He wants people to learn to deal with things by themselves. Trump downplays post threatening Chicago, saying he wants to clean up the city. Well, he can clean up by by moving his big fat nose out of the city. That's what he can do. Indian investors defying tariffs, keeping pouring money into stocks. Middle-class Indians have been ploughing their savings into the stock market, making it far less vulnerable to shocks of the trade war. What to know about the resignation of Japanese Prime Minister. Australian woman was given life sentence in mushroom murder case. Found guilty of murdering 3 of her husband's relatives and trying to kill a 4th by serving them deadly mushrooms. Oh my god. Botswana supporters flood the streets ahead of his expected conviction. Tensions are heating up as Brazil as the nation enters the final week of the former President Jair Bolsonaro's trial and attempted coup charges. This is big. I said that if he's found guilty, there's going to be anger, and you can, like, all these people are in the belief that Bolsonaro is the best thing for Britain. It's going to be really worrying, guys. It's not good. It's not good with the country divided about it. It's not good for them at all. Chief Strike Action, looked about that there. Celebrity stuff, not interested. US Military Academy Admiral Group cancels award honouring Tom Hanks. Okay. New Zealand police kill man who disappeared with his children. Total lunar eclipse seen around the world. The blood moon visible across parts of Asia, Australia, Europe and Africa lasted for 83 minutes. The blood moon. I know you guys had some fun with some comments earlier in the chat. I didn't quite catch them, so apologies. 12 video games. Any other stuff? Nope. Well, leave that there. So I mean, there's always some interesting tidbits that you find that the New York Times has that others don't tend to have there. So interesting stuff nonetheless. Just a reminder as well, guys, I will be going live tonight with their Reganelite viewpoint. We'll be looking at some of the latest news happening in the UK. So if you can join me for that, feel free to do so. Labour body meet to plan race to replace Rayner as deputy. Unions warn government not to water down workers' rights bill. Henley said more military sites could house asylum seekers. Yeah, you keep hearing. They're desperate to try and move the situation, move them. It's also confirmed officials were considering other types of non-military accommodation. Just over 32,000 asylum seekers currently in hotels, which represents about a third of the total number being housed in taxpayer-funded accommodation. Labour wants to accelerate its plans to end the use of hotels, which has become a focal point for anti-migrant protests. Shabina Mahmood is set to announce proposals to house asylum seekers on military land within weeks. 2 former military sites, Wakesfield and RF base in Essex, and now Barracks, former Pays military base, being used to house asylum seekers, are being opened under previous Tory government. And confirmed they're looking at military and non-military sites for temporary accommodation. The department yet confirmed this license sits, but Henley added that the military planners were working with the Home Office in options. What you are seeing from Keir Starmer now isn't just for a job for the Home Office, it's an all-for-government effort, he added. The Home Office confirmed 1,091 people crossed the English Channel in small boats on Saturday. Mama's first full day in job, underscoring the scale of the challenge she faces. Total number of crossings so far this year is now more than 30,000. The earliest point of this calendar year where the threshold had been reached, 30,000. Since leaving office, Labour have shelved plans to draw up under the Conservatives the House asylum seekers at RF Scampton in Lincolnshire, arguing the proposed failure to deliver money for the taxpayer. However, the government is expected to increase the number of migrants living in former sites at RF Wexfield in Essex and Napier Ballox in Kent, which have been due to stop house and asylum seekers this month, also set to stay open longer. Thanks for popping in, Joe. Good to see you there. I hope to see you tonight. Guys, check out his YouTube channel if you get a chance to as well. If the Tories are as good as gone and replaced by Reform, I want Farage, the leader of the opposition. Here's why: he can't dodge select questions. He gets fully grilled like he did in America. Yeah, but the thing is that having him as the opposition leader, he's not the one grilled. He gets to ask questions. And he will be like Boris Johnson if he becomes Prime Minister. He won't answer questions. He will just dodge them. That's the thing. He'll just dodge them. As for this, like, it's just they're not. All they're doing is just shipping the problem from one side to another in terms of asylum seekers. I don't like to quell too much on it, like, because you hear it all the time about migrants, guys. I try to find things that perhaps we're not always hear about. But I'm concerned about balance of cabinet after Rayner's exit. Yep, I don't blame him for saying that. Reform criticised over doctors' COVID jab claims at the conference. Yeah, they want to undermine vaccines. Reform UK has distanced itself from a conference speaker who suggested that COVID vaccines were linked to the King and the Princess of Wales cancers. What? An advisor to the US Secretary said one of Britain's most eminent oncologist professors said to me, share with you today, I think it's highly likely that the COVID vaccines have been a significant factor in the cancers of the royal family. West Street, the Health Secretary, said this was shockingly irresponsible to allow Reform UK to allow this person at the conference. The party said it does not endorse what he said, but does believe in free speech. In a speech in Birmingham, even titled "Make Britain Healthy Again," Dr. Malawala also claimed that studies showed that mRNA vaccines could alter genes. This kind of shit is dangerous. Have you heard anything anti-vax or conspiracy theory so far? Yeah, these kind of, like, it's nice that Reform have said that, but they know exactly what he's saying, and they want to put that out there anyway. Absolutely disgusting. Must be ready for early election, Nigel Farage tells party. Yep. Home Office clear out as Starmer reshuffles top team. Yeah, we'll have a look a bit more of that later tonight. Got about 2 minutes left. Anything else on here worth looking at? Not really there. Let's have a look at the front of UK. Super Tramp singer and co-author Ricky Davis dies at age 81. May he rest in peace. Disabled NHS medic told that she's not a real doctor. What? Based on what? Disabled doctor believes the NHS sees it as too difficult or inconvenient to give her support. Said she has considered leaving the profession. So senior colleagues told her that she was not a real doctor because her epilepsy means she does not work night shifts. You don't have to work night shifts. That doesn't make you a doctor. A survey by the BMA of more than 800 disabled and neurologists, doctors and medical students found more than half felt ableism was a bigger issue in the medical profession than in wider society. The Welsh Government said it was expecting all NHS organisations to support inclusion, and they are also legally required to support disabled staff through reasonable adjustments. Health boards in England and Wales are responsible for rotas, but NHS Wales Shared Service Partnership said an inclusive employer and its support employers and resident doctors an adjustment needed. However, South Wales-based Dr. Gilby said the irony of the healthcare system being unwilling to make small adjustments for someone with epilepsy isn't lost on me. Feels like the system sees supporting me as too difficult or inconvenient, even if it means losing someone capable and passive and passionate about caring for patients. Dr. Liz Murray spent more than a decade working in the NHS, similarly managing a number of chronic conditions, but left 2 years ago because of the barriers she felt were in place. The Norfolk-based doctor has lupus, severe immobiles and bladder and bowel damage, as well as hip problems, which means she uses mobility aids, but her request for part-time hours and no night shifts were declined. The NHS needs every single worker they can right now. They should be adjusting for her. I have slight dysfunctional immune systems and really skeptical to infections with big changes in life or disruptions of sleep environment stresses. 37-year-old. They can cause joint flare-ups where I can walk and I can't use my hands and it affects my vision. She said for a long time she felt her health conditions were to blame for leaving the profession, but now feels it was the inflexibilities within the system. Despite doctor shortages in her region, she felt she had to leave a role with sick pay and maternity benefits opted for locum work because it provided greater flexibility. She added, I was seen as the problem, realised how much of a toll it was taking on my health and I had to say enough is enough. While still working full time, she now does so in a way that suits her needs. You have to got to benefit. We've got like all NHSs are struggling. We need to look after all of them. I know we're over time, guys. Just have a quick look at the last lot of these. Woman 105, Mark's birthday party. 105 years old, bless her. She looks very good for 105 years old in that picture there. UK launched defence growth strategy to try and boost jobs. Good luck with that. And that's about it, guys. So, guys, just want to say thank you, guys, all for coming along here. Thank you, Aston Kier and Class Action, for those super chats to reach today's super chat goal this morning. It's greatly appreciated. I'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. Sorry, 8 p.m. UK time. If you guys want to join me for the Viewpoint, I'll be covering news specifically from the UK. We'll have a look and see what's been going on there, guys. Normally cover around about 6 stories. So if you guys can join me for that, feel free to do so. Also, I plan on doing a Discord after chat after the live stream tonight as well. So if you guys have Discord and you want to join me for a chat after, you're more than welcome to do so as well. I'll be doing a after chat. I'm going to try and bring that back for you guys. So if you guys want to join me on Discord, you're more than welcome to after the show tonight as well. But thank you guys here for this morning. Thank you guys for all your comments. Thank you guys for your contribution. Much appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you guys are doing. But if you can on your way out, hit the like button, share it across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.